What mountain bike? Trail Bike of the Year Test 2015. Bike you've not seen in our lineup in previous years. DaVinci, coming in from the downhill scene where they've had a lot of success with Stevie Smith, and a lot of that technology moved across into their Troy trail bike. And that's obvious in the way the bike rides as well. Certainly the first few runs on this bike, it would do a lot to convince you that it's packing a lot more than 140mm travel at the rear. Dave Eagle's split pivot provides a very smooth, gravity-orientated back end to the bike. Although the bike does have a double chain set, it's probably wise to stay away from that small ring unless you're locking the shock completely out, because it does, in certain situations, have a tendency to act like a cat with a fur ball in terms of the anti-squat actually firing the wheel back up, which isn't something you want. But you know, on some section of the testing, when we headed right downhill, we had to pedal back out again, having the ability to lock it out, drop it into the granny ring, and then it's also got a dual position pike fork on the front, so we could steepen the head angle. And when it came to winching back out of trails that on the other 1x11 bikes we were having to walk, we were actually quite glad with the 2x10 transmission, even if it isn't quite as fashionable as running a single chainring up front. One thing that is definitely on point is a full carbon chassis, and whereas in some brands there's not a massive differential between the alloy chassis and the carbon chassis, in terms of weight there's a lot of difference when you trade up to a carbon chassis from DaVinci, and there's certainly no loss of stiffness. This is a very solid bike, again reinforcing the fact that it feels much more like the 160, 150mm bikes we've had here on test rather than the 140mm bikes. It's a Monarch shock on the back end again, and it's a natural match to the pike up front. The dual position pike can be a little linear at times if you're really heavily loading it. Run a little more pressure though, and we were hammering it down seriously steep slopes, and it was performing fine. It was keeping its head up, and that short race face stem and the wide DaVinci own brand bars certainly mean you know exactly where that front Hans Dampf tyre is staying. Again, it's a good compound Schwalbe. It's not super tacky, so you're not going to blow a lung as soon as you turn the bike back uphill, but it grips well, it grips confidently, and those long, low, stable angles mean this is a bike you can properly rail. It's a good value package for a small independent dealer. It's got the, oh, you've got a what? Appeal of going outside one of the mass market brands, but it's definitely a bike that's really worth taking a good long look at, specifically if you're after a gravity orientated, naturally fast, naturally just smooth and very capable bike. It may lack edge in some, you know, if you're pushing it right to the limit, it doesn't quite have the sharp cornering edge of some other bikes. And that's partly due to the linear fork and the way that the split pivot acts at the rear. But if you're looking to hammer down some big stuff without really worrying about it, turning in late and just, you know, taking the tyres to the limit, taking your nerve to the limit, then the DaVinci is definitely on your side, and a bike that caused some interesting discussions as part of our top 10, but definitely deserves its place in there.